Alright guys, so we're going to continue building our authentication system using Angular and Firebase. So far we've built in our login form, and we wired it up to the Firebase and we can log in. And we also added some messages using the toast notification to display notification when we are logged in or when we are logged out. Alright, now we would build the registration form that we allow us to get registered to the system before we are logging. Previously we just did that on our Firebase console, but now we will build a form, registration form, that will allow us to do the registration. But before we get started and do that, I just want to point out something. In the last video, we created this remember me checkbox that allows the system to remember a user that is logged in. And I mentioned that there are three types of session persistence that we can use. There is the local, there's the session, and then there's the none. So you might be wondering why we didn't set this remember me string. Actually, first thing I want to do is I would correct this spelling. So it's remember me. You can use whatever you like, but I just want to correct it to remember me, right? And you might be wondering why I use session and not none. So there are three values we can use. We can use none, we can use session, and then we can use local, which is the default. So local is the default and not session. And the difference between those three is when you set it to none and you're logged in and then you refresh the page, you are allowed to log in, and I don't like that. So let me quickly show you what that looks like. So for default, I'm going to set this to none, and for setting the remember me variable, I'm going to set it again to none. Alright, so if I save this and our application is reloaded, I try to log in with our user john.terry@gmail.com, and our password is password, and I hit this remember me button, so it's set to none, and I log in, so I'm logged in. But then if I refresh this page, I'm being redirected back to the login component that I should log in again. And this is what you get when you set the persistence to none. So I really don't like that. So I prefer my defaults to be session, because when you refresh the page, the persistence already set to the stored in the session storage, so you don't have to log in again. So I prefer having the default to be session, and then the variable, when I hit this checkbox, I would prefer to set it to local, because for local, even if I close the page and get back to it, I can still log in. So that's the setup I like using when setting this remember me button. So if we try it out again, I go to john.terry@gmail.com, and the password is password, and then I try to log in. You see I'm logged in, but then when I refresh the page, I'm still logged in because our session is local. Okay, and even with session, you'll still be logged in, but then local takes it a step further, that when you open a new tab and then you navigate there, oops, did I check that local button? You'll still be logged in. So let's see, johnterry@gmail.com, password is password. So the first time I didn't check it, so it was session by default, and when I refreshed it was good. But now when I check this button and I log in, now I'm logged in, and if I just close that up now and try to go to the page again, you see I'm still logged in. So that's the difference between none, session, and local. So by default, when you don't set it up, it's set up to local for you, and then you can configure it to whichever one you want. All right, having gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead with the video and set up a registration form that would allow us to register user. All right, so I'm going to log out now, and then we're going to head over back to our code, and we want a form like what we have here, the login form. So instead of creating everything from scratch, I'm going to copy over this login form and modify it to suit my needs. So I'm going to head over to login HTML component, and I'm going to copy over this form, and we want to take that over to the sign up component. So I'm going to go to sign up component.html. Here we just have the sign up works. So if I click here, you just see the sign up works. So I'm going to put in the form now, and then we can modify and remove things that we don't need. For example, we don't need this form check for the remember me, so I'm going to take that out. And here we have this ng submit, and then we have a login. So instead of saying login, I would just say sign up. So our method will be sign up. So I'm just calling it sign up like this. I'm going to save. Our page is still broken, but then I can go to sign up component.ts, sign up component.ts right here, and then I can create that sign up method. So I'm going to create sign up. And we're still having some errors, so let's quickly go and check what's the problem. You see we have ng model bind to username and password. So this time around, instead of binding it to just the string, I want to bind to a model. We can create a model, and then we can bind the different properties to the model. So let me call the name of the model user. So we're going to have something like user.username, and then we're going to have user.password. Alright, so we have that set up. Then I'll head over back to the sign up component.ts, and we want to create that user model here. So I'm going to create user. We haven't defined any interface for this, but later on we could do that. So user, I'm just going to give it the type of any, and right now it has just two properties: the username, which is going to be a string, and the password. So username and password. Okay, something doesn't look good, and that's because I need to initialize it. So I'm going to initialize it to an empty string like so. So I have a user object right here, that's our model, and we don't have an interface defined for it. Like I said, we can do that later, and we're initializing our username and our password. So if I save it now, our login form looks good. So right now it's still showing login form, but we can change it to registration form or sign up form. So I'm going to say sign up form. So sign up form, we have username and password, and then we also need to change the button from login to sign up. So I'm going to say sign up like this. Now we have sign up, and we need one more field or one more input box, just like we have for username and password, and we can add one more for confirm password. We can add name and email later, but for now let's add one more for confirm password. So I'm going to say confirm password. We're going to be using this to build validation to make sure that the user enters the right password, probably in the next video. So for now, let's not bind it to any model. So I'm going to remove that. We have confirm password, type is password, name is confirm password. So I'm going to say confirm underscore password, and I'll give it that ID too for confirm underscore password, and class or form control. That's good. And this should also be confirm underscore password. So I'm going to save that, and it looks good. We can enter a username, we can enter a password, and we can confirm password. All right, so that looks good. Yeah, I think in the video, the one I made before, I used email for the username. So instead of having a username there, I just use email. But here we can leave it this way, and know that the username and the email are the same. So it depends on you. You can have one field for username, and then you can have another one for email. All right, so let's just leave it for username, and later we can add two other fields, one for the name and one for the email. All right, so this looks good. It's look good, but our username just came to my mind that the username must be an email. So let's just make this email to avoid any confusion in future. So I'm going to put that email type, it's email now. Name, let me just do a quick command D here and here, and let me make that email. And now our application is going to break because we don't have email. I'm surprised it doesn't break, but then if we go here, we can change this now to email because the username is the email. All right, so I'm going to save that. Now we have this, and we have our button here. So let's set up a handler for our button. So we check the click method, or no, sorry, actually we already have the submit here. So we are using the submit. We have the submit, and we have the sign up method, and then we have all those values there. So when we sign up, let's see if we can display confirm dialog. So, or maybe an alert. So let me just say alert, and we want to show the email plus the password just to check if things are working good. Okay, so let's separate that with the space. And yes, of course, we don't have email, rather we have user.email, and we need a this in front of the user to specify what user we are talking about. So this dot user dot password. All right, so I have this. I'm going to save this now, and let's try to sign up. So my email is test@test.com, and my password, I'm going to say password, and confirm password, I'm going to say password. And when I try to sign up, I get the confirm box that shows me my email, which is test@test.com, and a password. Okay, so the form seems to be working good. I'm just going to refresh to clear that up. And now we need a method in our service that can actually do the sign up for us. Yeah, so we're going to create that next. So we want to go to our auth service. So we have our auth service.ts. We have this get auth method, we have login, we have logout, we have set remember me, and now we need one also for our sign up. So how do we write that? Let's work on that now. So we want to work on our sign up, and after this we should have at least two sign-ups, I think. So yeah, we should have two signups, one that can sign up with our email and password, and another one that can sign up with our auth provider, which is going to be Google. So let's try with the first one and then we can work on the next one later. So let's start. Our sign up method is going to take two parameters, one for the email and one for the password. So password, both of them are strings, okay, and the sign up method, we can make it return a promise. It returns a promise by default, so we just want to call the create user. There's a method that we can get from the Angular Fire auth, and this is called create user with email and password. So that's how you can create a user. So Angular Fire auth, create user with email and password, and then you pass in those two parameters. The first one is the email and the other one is the password. All right, so we have these two parameters passed into our method, and this method, like I said, returns a promise. So we want to use the then to do something when it returns a promise. Or actually, you know what, we can leave out this part and then we can do the then on the component part. So I'm just going to leave the method like this, very simple, and I want to just return this just like this, like we did for the login and the logout. So just return this and we have our sign up method. All right, so I'm going to save that and then we can go to our component.ts. So we have our sign up method here and we want to inject our service. It's called auth service. So I'm going to say private auth service, and then we inject our auth service and it imports it for us automatically. And now we want to use that sign up method in our auth service. So to do that, I'm going to say this dot auth service dot, so we have all our method there and we have the new one which is sign up, and it takes two parameters, the email, so this dot user dot email, and then the next parameter is the password, so this dot user dot password. All right, so we have those two parameters passed in, and now we want to use our then. What happens after that? So we do then and inside our then we want to pass inside our then we want to pass a function, callback function, that would take care of the sign up. So what happens after we sign up, that's what we want to do in our callback function. So we have this then, and when we sign up, we want to first navigate to the welcome page. So in order for us to navigate to the welcome page, we need a router that can take us there. So I'm going to inject a router, and we can use this router to say this dot router dot navigate, and we want to navigate to our welcome page. So if the sign up is successful, we're going to navigate to our welcome page, and then we can also add a toast notification like we did before. So I'm going to add a toast notification. So we're going to inject our toast service. So I'm going to call it toaster. So it's toast service right here. And so after we display navigate to the welcome message, we want to display a toast. So toaster dot success, and we want to say a method like we want to type a message like you are now logged in. Okay, so you are now logged in. All right, we have this method here, and you can also catch an error. Let's say there's an error, so I'm going to use the catch. Same thing what we did for the login, and we have our error here, and we can use the toaster to display an error message, but we're going to take this out when we implement the server-side client-side validation, so we don't need this. So I'm going to say for now error, and here I'm just going to pass the error here, end this with the semicolon, and there is our sign up form. All right, let's try it right now and see if it works. So for our email, let's add Frank Lampard. So frank.lampard@gmail.com. Password, let's say password. This confirm password dialog box does nothing for now, but we're going to use it for validation later. So let's sign up, and you see it logs us in. You see you're not logged in, and there you see our email. So our sign up page works well. We are signing up with our email and password, and the next thing we would like to do is to also sign up with an auth provider. So down here we can add a button and say sign up with Google. That can allow us to sign up with the auth provider. All right, let's do that next. So I'm going to navigate over to the sign up component.html, and this is where we have that button, sign up for button. So it's sign up. So I'm going to copy it here, and then I'm going to paste it there. So it's sign up. I'm going to change it now to sign up with Google. So this is going to be sign up with Google, and we can also just to separate both of them, I'm going to put HR there, and maybe let's give it some classes. So I'm going to say class my5 and margin bottom 4. All right, let's try this out. So now we have the sign up and sign up with Google, but both buttons are blue, so I want this sign up with Google to be a different color, so I'm going to change it to info. So now it's good. The next thing I would like to do is to add a dependency. So it's called font awesome, so we can add a font awesome icon here to show the Google icon. So if you want to go download font awesome, let me just take you to the website. We just say Angular font awesome here, and you see Angular font awesome right here. And if you go to their GitHub page, you should see how to install it. You can do it with this ng-add, or you can install each of the icons individually. And you have different icons. You have the standard icons, and you have solid icons, and we'll be choosing the one that will allow us to add the Google icon. So let's go ahead and install it. So I'm going to head over to my terminal, open a new terminal, and we want to install font awesome. So I'm going to say ng add at font awesome /angular /font awesome. So you can put art with the version, but if I leave it blank, it's going to get me the latest version, which is what I want. So I'm going to leave it blank. And now it's telling me it wants to get the version 0.90. I'm okay with that, so I'm going to say yes. Should install the packages for us. And now you see we have different icons. We have the free solid icons, we have the free regular icons, we have the free brand icons. So that's the one that we want to get us the Google brand. So I'm going to use space to add that one. So we have free solid icon and free brand icon, and then I'll hit enter and it's going to install those for us. So the packages has been added. Good. Now how do we use this font awesome icon? So we just want to import them in our component, just like this coffee icon right here, and then we initialize them there and then we use it here. But first we want to add the module to our app module, just like this. So let's do that. So I'm going to head over to app module, the TS, and here we want to add the font awesome module. But when we did ng add, it added it automatically for us. So here we have the font awesome module. This is why I prefer to use ng add than just to install all of them individually. So we have our font awesome module. Now let's use it in our component, and we need to use it in our sign up component. So we head over to sign up component.ts, and now we want to bring in what icon we would like to use. So here I'm going to import our icon. So you have FA Google. So you see you have FA Google Drive, Google Play, and Google Plus. And this is coming from the brand icons. So when you're installing, you have the solid icons and you also have the brand icon. You want to make sure you install the brand icons to get this. So I'm going to bring that from Google, and here I want to initialize it. So I'm going to say FA Google is equal to FA Google, what we just imported here. So we initialize it to that, save it, and now we can use it in our HTML. So in our HTML, we want to use it like so. We have the FA icon and you assign it to the icon. Now you can check out the documentation for other ways you can add parameters and spice it up, but we're going to keep it simple here in this video. So now we add in the icon, but we are not using the coffee icon, so we are using the Google icon. So I'm going to update that. So FA Google, like so. We still have some errors. FA icon is not a known element, but we already installed it. Okay, you know what, let's just reload the project, because sometimes when you install a new component it takes some time to see it. So our application stopped running. Let's try to serve it up again. So now our bundle, as you can see, Fort Awesome, Angular Fort Awesome is compiled and added, and now we don't have those errors anymore. Compiled successfully, so I'm going to close that up, and now you can see we don't have any errors. And if we head over to our page, you see we have this nice Google icon. So sign up with Google with the Google icon. All right, that looks good. So next we want to wire up this button so that when we click on it, we actually sign with Google. So this is a button, and for it not to clash with this button, I'm going to give it a type of button, and I'm going to give this one a type of submit. So Angular can differentiate between both buttons, because if I don't do that and I hit submit, it might call this method for this other guy. So I'm going to save that. Now that this button is a submit, it's a type button, we can wire it up to the handler. So we're going to create a method here. When we click the button, we want to sign up with Google. So I'm going to say sign up with Google. So that's our method there, sign up with Google. So if I save that, our page would break because we don't have this method. So I'm going to copy it over, and we're going to go to our sign up component right here, and we're going to create that method, sign up with Google. And if I save that, it comes back up and our page is working again. So what we need to do is to go to our auth service and then create that sign up method with Google. So let's go to our auth service and create that. So I'm going to use Command P and go to auth service. Now we have sign up here, and we need another one with sign up with Google. So I'm going to call it sign up with Google. And this doesn't take any parameters, and we can do this with this dot af auth dot. Now we have two ways we can do this. We can do this with sign up with redirect, or we can do it with sign up with pop-up. I used to use sign in with redirect previously, but now I had some issues with that, so I stopped using it, and I figured out that this is the better one to use. So sign in with pop-up. So since it says sign in, let's just say sign in, but right now I'm using it on the sign up page. So sign in with pop-up, and we need some parameters for it. We actually need one parameter for it, and that's the provider. So I'm going to say new Firebase. We already imported Firebase at the top right here. So I'm going to say Firebase dot auth, then dot, we still have this auth here, and then we're going to use, oh sorry, it's firebase.auth.google. So Google auth provider here, and that's a method, so we're going to open it. So our sign in will pop up, look like this, and we want to return whatever comes back with it. So sign in with Google, like so. And let me end it with a semicolon, and there we have our sign in with Google method. All right, let's go back and wire up that method and use it in our component. So sign up with Google, so it's actually signing us in, but We are using it in our sign up form. That's why we're calling it sign up with Google. Alright, so we're going to use our auth service like before, and then we use the sign in with Google, and doesn't take any parameters, but then it returns back a promise. So we're going to say .then, and then we pass in a callback function, and we can do something when that comes back. So what do we want to do? We want to display this toast message that tells us that we are now logged in, it's a success, and we also want to redirect. So since we are repeating ourselves here, this might be a good candidate for a function so that we can use it here in this method and also here. And yeah, that looks good. And finally, we also want the catch if there's an error. So I'm going to copy over and paste that here. And now this looks good. So I'm going to save it. And our form is reloaded again. So now we can try the sign up with Google. I'm going to click on that. And now it's going to navigate me over here. And I need to sign up with my account. So I'm going to use that and code with Henry. Next, enter my password. And now I'm redirected back to the welcome page. So now in our application, we are signing, we're doing the registration. So we can register a new user. And the last time we registered frank.lampard, and we can now log in with frank.lampard@gmail.com. And for the password was password. And we can hit this remember me and see we are logged in, and we can register another user. We can register another user and then we can log them up in, or we can sign up with Google. Alright, this will I'll be wrapping up on this video. In the next video, we want to implement validation on this form. So right now you see if I try to sign up, I get this server messages showing that something is wrong with the form, but we want to have client-side validation on this form so we can see the error messages and disable this button when there's an error with the form. Alright, we'll be doing that in the next video. I hope you are enjoying this video series. You're learning some things from it. Smash that like button if you're enjoying this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.